What's going on YouTube? You already know who it is, baby. It's your homeboy, Skull Daddy. Back at it with the YouTube videos. Want to do a quick deck profile of another one of my decks that I've been really enjoying this format post Infinite Forbidden. As always, nothing too meta defining over here, but I've just been really loving this deck, especially post ban list. It wasn't impacted too much after the ban list. Obviously, things such as Pot of Prosperity and Appaloosa impacted all decks, including this one, which is the Voiceless voice deck. But yeah, super excited to show you guys what I've got cooked up. I've been just shredding people to bits with this deck. Haven't had like a top with this deck in terms of like locals, local standings, but definitely looking forward to, getting some good progress with this in person. But online, I've been really, leaving people in the dust on like things such as Dual Book and Nexus as well. It's a 42 card main, 15 extra, 15 side, obviously. But yeah, I've just been loving this deck. I would say it's like maybe tier 1, tier 1.5, 2 at least. I wouldn't call it a rogue deck right now. I feel like it still has a lot of capacity to actually compete really well in the current meta. But it is kind of power crept at this point in comparison to things such as the Fiend Smith stuff and whatnot. Anyways, let's just jump right in. I don't want to spend too much time on this. But yeah, I've really been enjoying this deck. It's potentially going to be, I think, my meta contender in this format. If I want to go play competitively somewhere or something like that, maybe this one, and then also my Kashtira deck, so stay tuned for that one. And then as always, leave me a comment of what you think of the deck, what you'd improve, what you'd cut, what you'd add, what you appreciate about this deck profile. Just let me know in the comments section. I'd greatly appreciate that. And definitely like, comment, subscribe, folks. Cool, so right off the bat, we'll start off with the rituals. So we've got 2 Skull Guardians. I would say that's mandatory. 2 is the correct number. You got 1 Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon and then the 1 Ceravis. I've seen people play Ceravis at 2. I think that's totally fine, but for this 42 card deck, I just felt like 1 is just fine because we are playing the Dogmatica package, so you needed more space to fit that package into the deck just because Pot of Prosperity was limited to 1. Cool. So that's it for the rituals. We have our normal summons and starters. So we've got 3 low, the prayer of the voiceless voice. And then we have also got the 3 diviners. Low-key, I'm never normal summoning this. Like, I usually want to use this thing's effect in hand to use it for ritual material, just because if you normal summon this and it's impermed or veilered, you lose that free ability to use this instead of multiple cards to ritual summon your Skull Guardian. Besides, if you ritual summon your Skull Guardian, Skull Guardian can just add this anyways, then you can normal summon it. Now all of a sudden, if they try to imperm it, Skull Guardian can negate or negate the Veiler as well. Yeah, full disclosure, I do feel like Diviner is actually a better normal summon, especially going second, just because we are running a lot of Dogmatica targets, aka like punishment targets. But we're not playing punishment, obviously, but they're Dogmatica punishments in the side, Dogmatica targets in the extra. So sometimes, like, this is actually, like, if you have a lot of 1-card starters in your hand, such as Saphira or even the barrier, the voiceless voice, the continuous spell, this could be used essentially as a normal summon to try to break into boards. And then going first, usually I find like boards that you're actually normal summoning this, it's getting you 2 free bodies if you dump what's that card called? The Trias Hierarcha. What ends up happening is you could use those 2 free bodies if you go full combo anyways, to actually add like an IP to your board or potentially add some other bodies to your board using those 2 bodies. So definitely keep this in mind. Like, this is probably your best normal summon, not necessarily low, just because low loses really 2 effects if it gets imperm. We've got 3 Saphira. People are cutting this to 2. I disagree. I mean, as a hero player, right? Like, I can appreciate 1 card combo cards such as Saphira, so I'm playing 3. I mean, if I see 2 in hand, so be it. It's not that big a deal. And besides, look at the art on this thing, guys. Just amazing. Just look at that. Incredible. Probably one of like my favorite artworks in this whole archetype. Maybe even all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I really love that art of Saphira. Now for the one-ofs, we've got 1 Old Man, 1 Trias for the Diviner Dump, and then the 1 Dogmatica Maximus. People are cutting this. I think they're crazy. It doesn't make any sense. So many lines and hands require this to basically just give you that additional layer of interruption, because you could just send this back to your hand 4 costs, so it doesn't even interact with Imperm or Veiler, and you get to special summon a Saravis to the field, which completely shuts down the Fiendsmith link lines, right? Like, let's say they try to go Baby Goddess, Saravis can then all of a sudden banish that link summon before they even activate any of the effects, almost like a Solemn Judgment. And now they really just went -2 bodies just to get negated by 1 card. So yeah, I don't really understand why people are cutting the Old Man. It's, my opinion, like, yeah, okay, I guess it could be a brick, but in a lot of cases, it's just the perfect extender you need. Next up, I've got Barrier of the Voiceless Voice. 3 of those. 2 Prayers. 1 Blessings, and then the 1 Radiance. Pretty standard stuff. I've got 3 pre-prep. Again, guys, like, this adds you 2 cards. Why would you run 2? I see a lot of people cutting it to 2. It doesn't make sense to me. And then last but not least, I've got the 3 Nadir Servants. Really, really good. Now some hand traps. I've got 3 Impermanents, 3 Ash, 3 Veilers, and then the Spice, boom, Dominus Purge. I've really been loving this card. Like, it locks you out of some cards in the extra deck, but to have 6 Ash Blossoms in the deck is just incredible and exactly what the deck really needs. Really, really good as well to have that ratio of like 3 Ash, 3 Dominus Purge against the 10 Pie matchup. It's just usually incredible. And then the 42nd card, we'll do Called by the Grave. Cool. In the side, we've got Dynamondo. We've also got SP. Quick comment on Dynamondo. It's essentially like a better version of SP for this deck, in my opinion. Like, it sends back, and it could also reset your whole Skull Guardian low line to be able to set another continuous trap or spell to the back row off of low. So really, really good, and mandatory that you have to play at least 1 or 2 in the deck. We've got the 1 Anima, IP, Trapagate Farigite, Silhouette Rabbit. This is the replacement for Apollosa. And then we've got the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Do not cut this, guys. There are going to be game states where they won't out all your bodies, but they've established the tower, and then you can get up to 4 bodies on the field to just kind of link off one of their bodies. It's really, really good. There's a world where maybe we play Baby Goddess, but I don't know. I'm not too sure. Maybe. We've got 1 Typhon for the Xyz, and then a Mariel Logic Aggregator. You'll see why we're running this in the extra in a bit. Got the 1 Garura for the Dogmatica package. 1 Antas, and another Antas. Really good for breaking into boards. I think having 2 is just really, really clean. And that's it for the fusions. And then we've got the 1 Herald. Again, this could be a Diviner dump or a dump off the Farigite. Got the Eyes Meteor Burst. This is excellent when you get the Pendulum Graph Dragon onto the board. You basically go for the spell negate and then just special summon this. Under certain game states, let's say you negated a lot of their spells and they have, like, let's say one more dragon left in the Tampai matchup on the field, and they're trying, let's say it's Chandra, and they try to go into the battle phase to special summon something else from the deck off of Chandra during the battle phase, they won't be able to do so because of the Meteor Burst, because it stops all the effects that your opponent is trying to use in the battle phase. Very, very good card. I think you should be playing it. The last but not least, we got the Golden Cloud Beast. For the side, what do we got? We've got Mulcharmy Pirellia, 3 of those. I was playing the Phantasme for draw power, but not all decks link. And also, Phantasm was basically interfering with Dogmatic Punishment, right? It's really hard to... you can't go... you can't use Phantasm after you go into... what do you call it? The Dominus Purge. So, Mulcharm is just the next best thing. And ideally, like, the reason why Phantasm was really clean is because it was level 7. You could actually use the body for rituals or even linking. But yeah, just Dominus Purge is just too good to pass up in this deck, so we had to play it. 3 Solemn Judgments, Omni Negate. You could stop a special summon as well, mandatory. 2 barriers, dimensional barriers for going first. Good for Tempai, good for a lot of matchups. Some one-ofs are playing Tikaboo. Anti-spell Fragrance, and then the Angel Statue of Azurun. Oh, so you could set this off of the rabbit, the silly wabbit. We do have 1 Harpy's Duster for back row, and then the last bit of spice for board breaker is gonna be the Ultimate Slayer. The reason I've opted in to play the Ultimate Slayer is just because we're playing a lot of these targets in the extra deck, and also the same targets are, you can able to get to those targets to be able to break into boards with your Nadir Servant as well. I usually like to side this in instead of Nadir Servant, but there might be some games where board breaker is just absolutely crucial. I'm still testing, so maybe you do play this and Nadir. But yeah, this is really good because it sends for cost from the extra deck, right? And they also can't respond to this with monster effects. So hypothetically, let's say they have, what do you call it? A Caesar on board. You're facing a Snake Eye Fiendsmith deck. They have a Caesar on board off their Fiendsmith line of play. And they also have their Desarium. All right. You're going to go Ultimate Slayer. You have all these different targets to choose from. Right. These extra deck targets. Maybe even the Guru. I don't know if you want to do that, but... You've got your Xyz, and then you also have your Link. Like, these are all Dogmatica Punishment targets or Dogmatica targets. So the way to think about it is this card, not only, the Ultimate Slayer, not only is it a board breaker, but it's also an extender, right? And I made the meta call here that this is, for this deck, it's better than, let's say, some hands that you might have, like Super Poly or Forbidden Droplet. I mean, Dark Ruler is also an option, but Dark Ruler, you're unable to FTK that turn, right? Which is, not always the best thing, considering that the amount of crackback a Snake Eye deck has is just crazy. It's a lot better than this deck's crackback in every way, shape, or form. So let's, again, theoretically, they have a Caesar on board and they have a Desaria. So what you're going to do is you're going to do Ultimate Slayer. They may or may not be able to respond to this just based on the fact that they have a a set spell or a set trap to be able to, chain 3 the Desaria, but bear with me. So you'd use the Ultimate Slayer on the Caesar, dump this, and then this could essentially act as a way to negate a face-up card. So maybe you're not dealing with a Desaria, but you'll deal with essentially 2 cards for the cost of 1 from your hand. Another thing to do maybe is, there's some kind of tower that's Xyz or Fusion. Again, you're sending these cards, guys, for cost. So not only are they not interacting with the board breaker, but you're getting an additional effect after from the grave, which means they can't necessarily even interact with it with like an Imperm or a Veiler either, or even a Desaria, right? Like Desiree does not interact with any of these cards in any kind of way. Even Ultimate Slayer, like they'll have to have that back row set of a spell or trap to be able to interact with the Ultimate Slayer. So yeah, that's just my reasoning. I've been really loving it, and I wouldn't change me using the Ultimate Slayer. It's probably it's just such a fun card, and it's a breaker and an extender. Like it does multiple things for you to advance the game state. Can't go wrong with it. Anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you liked the deck profile. Yeah, I've been really enjoying Voiceless format, and let me know what you guys think about the deck in the comment section below. And that's just me signing out, all right? I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.